You know, the
Bring
one
up,
thing I
bring up
wish
Troy's
Tesla,
question. In the meantime, bring up
yeah,
Troy's question. We should talk about this.
yeah. You know, one thing I wish that they would do, they would take their camera feeds from front and back, right, and use that to identify all the potholes in
Yes,
specific areas, and
yes.
then upload that to their local DOTs so that this way they can fix it. Because what happens is
You
you
think so?
literally have road scanners, you know, all around the entire country right now. So anytime there's a pothole that's detected, the camera will see that pothole, be able to determine it's a pothole, send that data to DOT, and so this way the minute that there's a pothole detected and it goes into the map for the DOT, they just know like, hey, we don't have to plan on going here, plan on that. It's just automatically send the crew to that location, and it's almost like playing whack-a-mole with the roads,
The
right?
opposite, Philemol.
Yeah,
But
fill them
also,
all exactly.
as soon as a Tesla discovers that, every other Tesla now that drives down that road knows the potholes there.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it uploads it and it will.
Yeah, but which is good because what happens is once that pothole is fixed, the next Tesla that passes over it will see that it's fixed and take it off of the main board that's on the you know, that DOT's site. So this is where I would say Elon needs to get in touch with the local DOTs and say, look, I will provide you with this data for free or maybe for a small service fee, because right now the way the DOTs work on potholes is it's self-reported, right? Like people have to report the pothole.
It's 311. You got to call 311.
And
I was the guy on Waze reporting potholes,
yeah,
vehicles stuck on the road. I had a lot of points.
And the thing is, most people don't report potholes because they're traveling so fast. They just accept and go, okay, whatever, you know, it's a pothole. That's it. But the thing is, like, this is real-time scanning, real-time pothole detection that you could built into like an operating model for these DOT people, and then they have no excuse. You know, and then you could actually probably upload the data and monitor it live to see where all the potholes are. You know?
I think you can get reimbursed from the state if a pothole's been reported and it hasn't been fixed, and you like blow a tire in. I think you can get fixed. So if you bend a rim, I'm pretty sure. But let's get to the question. Wait,
let's answer the right to repair.
Let's answer Troy's question, because this is something where people say like, oh, you know, I'm like some sort of like uber freaking Elon Musk fanboy. I'm not a fanboy. I just really believe in what the company's doing on a metric level. And
I have no idea what right to repair is. Can you kind of
right to repair means that once you own the vehicle, you have the right to be able to fix and repair and upgrade things. It's like if I buy, like my first vehicle was a 1981 Camaro, right? It had a 350 engine in it. I was able to go in there, rip it out, rebuild it, put a bigger carburetor on it, like fix my vehicle and update it. You can't do that anymore. This was a thing that people complained about Apple computers. I can't go in there. I can't replace RAM. I can't replace the hard drive. It's like, so there's this idea of a right to repair, meaning I should be able to repair my own vehicle if I'm knowledgeable. But if you do anything to a Tesla, you void the warranty.
Who's that farming company? Basically, the people buy the tractors.
John Deere.
John Deere. They sell tractors right now. Okay, farmers used to buy tractors and fix their own tractors. Remember, they're hundreds of miles away from repair shops. Hundreds.
Right. And the thing now, goes 15 miles an hour.
but now it's hard to move that equipment. But John Deere right now, you cannot fix your own tractor. You're buying a software license for it. You can't mess with it. And hackers are becoming smart, and they're actually hacking into John Deere. And these farmers are downloading illegal software to be able to run their tractors the way they want to. It's kind of crazy. So when a farmer loses their tractor, you understand their business is fucked. That's it. So this is going on right now, this massive thing of right to repair movement. And one of the guys, I think even Chris brought up a couple of weeks ago or something, Louis Rossman on the internet, you guys should look him up. He does circuit board repair of Apple computers. He talks about this all the time, that we do not have access to our own computers, equipment, anything. So it's all becoming a closed system. Apple is perfect at doing this. John Deere is perfect. And now Tesla is just following the exact same model. So this is a problem. This is not good. I do not appreciate Elon.
Why are you not on the side of Elon doing this? Why are you so anti?
It should be up to me. Okay. I'll give you another example. Rich Rebuilds. Remember, he built his own Tesla and it works. The whole thing works.
The salvage Tesla.
He went to plug it in.
He built it. He repaired a Tesla, or built it like it was like a Franken Tesla. Out of all
he built
these
3
broken
Teslas or
Teslas,
something.
he was able to cobble together a Tesla that worked.
Well, he brought it to a supercharger, and then he was blocked from supercharging. Like, why? Literally plugging in electric. I get that there are safety concerns, but he's plugging in electricity into his car, but Tesla knows who's plugging in their cars. That's it. He was blocked. Like, it's almost like saying you have to ride at the back of the bus. Like, honestly, Like if it goes
Now,
to
okay,
that level.
to push back on that, if you jailbreak your iPhone and then it has some virus on it, and you're like, "Hey, Apple, it's a faulty iPhone," they're like, "Fuck you, you jailbroke
No,
it.
you're
It's not
allowed
our
to
fault."
jailbreak. That has been actually passed through a law or some sort. You're allowed to jailbreak your iPhone right now, but you're not allowed to jailbreak your Tesla. Elon will shut you down. These are problems. These are no joke. And the thing is, look, Tesla's a good company. They care about the world. But as this moves forward for the next 20 years, how is this going to be for us? I don't want to be the guy driving my any car and being pulled over by the cops because they just turn on their sirens and my car just pulls over.
Like, exactly. I agree with you. I think that's a real problem. And I know that the legislation is already in place in certain states to give police the right to do that. And they sell it to the public being like, well, in the event of a fire, the fire department can tell your vehicle to go find a parking space and save you from getting rammed. That's what they sell it to you. But what happens? Here's the question. Your wife's in labor and you're racing to the hospital, or someone's been injured and you're racing to the hospital and you're running some red lights or you're really close to the hospital. The police pull you over. That could be the difference between life and death. Now that's an extreme edge case, but that's what you're trying to avoid, is this idea of like, do I have autonomy? Like, did I buy a vehicle or did I buy the right to drive this vehicle? That's very different. And those are different prices.
I'm confused because Elon is the free speech absolutist libertarian ethic. Why is he doing this? Why is he not giving you guys
money?
Dude,
Money.
look, at the end of the day, he's a businessman. He's a businessman.
Okay, if you're him, think about this from his perspective. You have to look at it from his perspective. If you allow people, same thing with Apple, if you allow people to jailbreak their phones, what are you inviting that could potentially hurt the Apple brand, right? What are you inviting into the system that you can't control for? And whenever these companies, they want to control for everything. So what if they allowed you to be able to do your own repairs or to do your own modifications? Somebody is going to rip a plaid motor out of a Model S that's salvaged and they're going to put it in a Model 3. Okay. They're going to do that. And is the Model 3's drivetrain sufficient to handle the power of that? Is the battery system capable of handling? These are things you don't know, right? But people will do it. And so you can do it. Somebody will figure it out. And is that something that Elon wants to allow? I don't know. I can see both sides of it. But as a guy that grew up like working on both of my Camaros and my Jeep Wrangler, that's part of the fun of owning a vehicle, is customizing it and making it your own. And all you can do on a Tesla is replace the brakes and some cosmetics.
This is a good point. How could you support unlimited use cases of people doing that?
It's true.
That's also something to weigh, right, and balance against it.
It's true, but all of those vehicles that I've owned were pre-owned. Like, I wasn't expecting to have like the original manufacturer's warranty on a Jeep Wrangler that was 5 years old, or but I don't agree that if a guy builds his own Tesla, should he be blocked from supercharging? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, like, totally blocked. They could have just limited him to something more reasonable, like level 2 charging. Like, we don't know your car, we're dropping you down to level 2 charging. But I mean, like, I'm level 2 charging it at my house,
right?
From a thing I installed by myself. So it's so messed up that we are becoming a culture. I think it's American. It's an American problem, actually.
It totally.
We need somebody else to tell us it's okay to do something.
It's not so much American. It's just how business works now. Like, I'll give you an example of something that's very similar in the healthcare field. Like, back in the day, when you bought like a CT machine, X-ray machine, MRI, whatever, you would get a service contract from the manufacturer, right? So if anything went down, you could call the service manufacturer, but the service manufacturers would charge a lot. Like GE, you call them in, that's like just the phone call alone will cost you $1,000. And then they send a guy from
they better be sweet talking you, be like,
yeah. Chris, so if you saw the labor costs, bro, they're out of this world. So
let me add something to that before you leave the GE thing. All those things back in the 70s and 80s used to come with plans. You can call the service manufacturer, but you actually had the circuit board plans that if some chip went bad, you can replace that chip. It's no longer that way. You can't do that.
The thing is, so back in the day, people used to actually have third-party service vendors who would service all your equipment. And just like Vitaly said, they would have all the plans waiting for you. And what you could do is just call GE and they'll send you a certified GE part. They would do all the labor. They would do all the part. Or you could get it from a third-party source, like let's say an old CT machine from another hospital. They were throwing out their machine. You could take some of their parts and put them in your CT machine, and then you have it working, right? So essentially everything is functioning correctly. Now the vendors lock their shit down. They're like, look, First of all, they won't share the service code with the third-party service people. They're just saying, sorry, it's not part of it's not what we do. You're just gonna have to figure your way around it. So first of all, they don't even have the diagnostic tools to diagnose what's going on with the issue. Most third-party vendors now end up having to call GE. GE sends their guy, they build a third-party vendor, and the third-party vendor bills us. So it's such a fucking weird thing.
Just passing money.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's and the other thing is they basically when you buy it like a machine now, it comes 100% fully loaded with everything that you'll ever need for that machine. But they vendor lock it so that whatever you purchase is like a software as a service. So basically you call them, and say, hey, listen, I need the cardiac package turned on the CT machine. They'll say, okay, send us a purchase order for $50,000, and then they'll remotely turn it on. And there you go. Now you have a cardiac package on your CT machine. Other than that, you can't scan the heart for like specific exam.
That's what's happening. I think there was a case where people sued Ford for that, because there's a case now where people are saying, hey, like if my vehicle has heated seats in it, you can't charge me. It was like a subscription fee to get heated seats in a Ford, say a Mach-E. People, and so I think it was Jersey that passed the law that says you cannot charge customers for something that's built into the car when they took possession of it. So if it has heated seats, you cannot charge.
That's got to be only for cars.
Yeah, so same for cars. Yeah, for cars.
So there's a guy who said, Charles Stewart, he said most hospitals hire their own biomed teams. Absolutely. But what's happening is every year that these newer machines are coming out, the biomed people that you can hire, it's becoming less and less that they can actually fix everything without having to call the manufacturer. Like manufacturers, and here's the other thing that the manufacturers do and they think they're sneaky, but they will sell you the actual machine for cheaper than what it cost them to build it, right? Because they know that they're going to make their money on the service revenue that they're going to get for servicing the machine and providing
that's what most legacy auto is doing, and that model just doesn't work with EVs because you don't have the built-in routine maintenance. This is part of the problem for them.
We had a price quote for a GE CT machine and a Siemens CT machine. The Siemens CT machine was like maybe a third more expensive, but the GE machine, it was cheaper. So the hospital went with the GE one, but the Siemens one rarely ever went down. And it was always like fixable by third parties and everything. But GE just has the damn thing locked down. Now, here's the thing. It's almost like a bait and switch, right?
Yeah.
Where they'll give you something cheaper up front, but they're like, yes,
that's the whole tripping over dollars to pick up pennies.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
So Jeremy says, how about new car manufacturers are selling cars and delivering them without packages the car should have because of the chip shortage?
That's a mess too, but they are offering those as like not upgrades, but like service. As they get the parts, they have you come in and install whatever those sensors are.
BMW does that too. BMW right now has like a feature where you can just call them and have them turn on like vibrating seats, because it's cheaper for them during the manufacturing process just to build out a single model
base, get it out
base.
There,
But then like later on, if you want a package turned on, you just call them and they software unlock it and let you have the part. So instead of having like a version that has seat warmers and one that doesn't, they just have everything has seat warmers, but the only difference is they're all vendor locked. So you would just have to call the vendor. And now
this is a big question of consumer rights. Like this is where we're getting into now. Like now that vehicles are more like electronics, and electronics are like you're saying, like vehicles. We have to establish what this is. We have to establish what the rules are, because the consumer's losing on all fronts on this.
Well, look, I actually don't mind Tesla charging for FSD. I don't mind people even charging for heated seats. The problem I find is that if I tinker with Tesla's thing, like the doors, for example, perfect example, they know I tinkered with it.
Yeah.
And when I come in for my warranty thing, I have no more warranty. So that's it. That's the problem. Okay, so this is
what if you painted the car? What if you wrap the car in like a new paint? Is that's
fine? But that can cause issues with the ultrasonic sensors. A buddy of mine wrapped his car, and it creates an extra. It creates an extra layer for it to go through, and it might not read distance correctly because you've put something in front.
No, but see, Tesla has a great point here. They're like, how the fuck are we supposed to, give you our FSD if you junk up the car, right? Like that's a legitimate argument.
No. But I'm telling you right now, if I just touch the doors and it's just a couple of bolts to correct it, it's not like a difficult thing. And in fact, on my old car, the Pathfinder, I probably would have just adjusted the bolts because nobody's monitoring me. But if I touch anything on a Tesla right away, beep, 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 error, 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 error. And then the error is right there. It's logged. When I come into the service center, well, why did you touch your car? Why did you touch the door? And it's not like I could go to some third party right now and say,
They do have, but they do in every state or around you. You can go to Tesla certified centers, just like Apple.
there's not a lot of them. Nope.
There's
There's not a lot
no,
of
there
them.
isn't a lot of them.
I looked it
Out
up.
here, there's probably more because they have the factory
Nope.
right here. So I know that there are more than a few Tesla certified centers that are authorized to do the repairs that would still be under warranty. So maybe they need to expand that a little bit more, because what's happening is as more Teslas get on the road, the small mom and pop mechanic is basically just replacing tires and air filters. That guy is not making the money. Those guys are going out of business, and they can work. There's things that they can do. They're not even doing emissions tests anymore. Think about, like, it's just completely gutting that business. So
no oil changes. Oil changes are huge.
no oil changes, no transmission changes, no differentials. All you do is tire rotations, brakes.
Well, even brakes last 3 to 5 years longer than conventional brakes.
Yeah. You're only permitted to drive the car you pay for. What does that say? It is not actually yours. That's the point. But back in the day, if I paid full sticker price for a vehicle, it was mine. It was an asset. That's like someone telling you can't change the freaking light bulb in your house. That's like an HOA. That's not how it should work. If I own my home, I should be able to do whatever I want to it. I do understand. People have said, I do understand these are super high voltage systems that you can get hurt in ways that you can't say with gas vehicles. But anyway,
but once again, I'm not saying touch the battery. It should be like, okay, guys, you can't touch the battery, the powertrain. That's just too dangerous. We're not willing to warranty that. Like, if you mess with that. But if I correct my door issue, how is we're Gordon Johnson? No, but we have to point out the negatives, what's going on, because it's not all positive. This is going to be a terrible world if we can't fix any of our own shit.
What is it? The World Economic Forum? You will own nothing, and you'll be happy.
Yes,
right. They actually said that, right?
That's exactly what that is. Okay, so the next part of this conversation, because I was in Starbucks and Vitaly and I were talking, and I was thinking, like, all right, so now fast forward 2 to 5 more years, most of Teslas are now made with the GigaPress and the structural battery pack, which means now the entire car is essentially 3 parts. Does that mean that any minor fender bender, now the car is completely totaled? Because any damage to the frame, there's nothing to replace. You don't have an upper control arm and a lower.
There's no battery pack anymore. In 5 years or 4 years, no battery pack on all these
battery
cars.
pack is a part of the structure.
What do you mean there's no battery pack? Oh, it's part of the structure. That's what
the battery pack.
What happens when you dent half of your structure? Something happens.
If you get into a minor fender bender now, say in your ICE vehicle, they can look at the parts that are messed up, find the last point where it's still intact, and replace everything after that. The Giga casting is one solid piece in the back, a structural battery pack in the middle, and then another piece in the front, and everything's bolted to that. So that means if you get rear-ended, right, and it damages the rear Giga casting, can you replace a rear Giga casting? And what's the cost of that?
I can't. That's astronomical. It's probably
because
going to total all the cars.
Right.
As soon as you get into
normally you replace just a little piece of the suspension.
That's why a lot of insurance companies, they will not insure Teslas, because the cost of repairing a Tesla is so high.
No, they do insure. Yeah, they do insure.
I've never had anybody deny when I was getting quotes for insurance. Nobody.
They charge more. Yeah. They charge more. Like essentially every Tesla is considered.
Because what it is the cost of repair is so high. Most Teslas end up just getting totaled. They're just like, look, the cost is way beyond what it would cost to just get a new Tesla. So instead, they'll just give you the face value of the car. Because that's what they do. Insurance will just say, hey, this is the value of the car. This is the money. Here's a check. Call it a day. And they'll walk away, instead of trying to get someone to replace it. But see, this is where this leaves an opportunity for a lot of legacy auto to say, look, Tesla is being a little bit heavy-handed with this, and we know that there's a large part of the population that does not like this. Let's build a car for the everyday man where they're not beholden to this, because there is still a huge car culture in the United States where people do not want to be like you guys. You guys are Tesla diehards, but even you guys don't agree with this, right? So maybe that's one angle.
I'm a Gen X guy. I came from the muscle cars. The muscle cars.
And maybe that's one of the things that they need to basically reinforce with their EVs.